Greetings everyone, this is Elkense Letitia. Today we're going to look at English First Additional Language. We're going to base our concentration on summary. Let's do this. Paper 1 is structured as follows. We have comprehension test, that is out of 30 marks. We have summary, that is 10 marks, advertisement, 10 marks, cartoon, 10 marks, and we also have language and editing that will take 20 marks. Summary writing, this is one of the skills that I want you learners to take serious. It's one of the skills that you will use throughout your life, throughout your studies, in a workplace, at home, when you take notes during the lessons, when you go to varsities, you'll also need to use this skill of summary writing. It's something that you will need to employ throughout your career. We have great news for you because summary writing, it's an easy thing. It's an easy marks to get if you're going to follow the steps that I'm going to outline for you. The tips that I have on this slide are as follows. You must read the instructions carefully. Don't rush to answer without understanding the instructions first. You read carefully there. Make sure that you know how many words are expected. Learners, this is very important because we are summarizing. When you summarize, you need to keep to a certain number of words required. Make sure you know that. With English file, we concentrate normally on 70 words. Read the passage more than once. Don't fool yourself and think when you have read only once, you understood what the passage is about. It is always advisable to read more than once. As you are reading, please highlight or underline the main ideas or the main points so that you know when you're done with your reading, you know which point to concentrate on. Write a rough draft in your own words. We'll come to this at a later stage. The steps that we're going to look at, step number 1, it's delete. You know, when you delete something, we use the phones always, you remove altogether. It means you're not going to concentrate on that particular fact that you would have deleted. Remember, when you use your phone, you delete. Then we have step number 2, where you're going to keep the facts or the main points. Step number 3, we're going to substitute. There are words that you're going to leave out and substitute them with other words that you would have chosen. Step number 4, list. Step number 5, now you write your final piece. Don't say you're going to write your final draft. There's nothing like writing your final draft. It's your final piece. Example here. As the head prefect of your school, you have been asked to address the grade 11 learners on how to be a good leader. Read the text below and list 7 points that you will include in your speech on how to be a good leader. And these are the instructions that you will get in your examination. Instruction number 1, we're also going to unpack all the instructions one by one. If you look at number 1, it says, your summary must be written in point form. I'm going to explain that. Number 2, list your 7 points in full sentences using no more than 70 words. Number your sentences from 1 to 7. We're also going to explain that. Write only 1 point per line. Use your own words. There we are. Use your own words as far as possible. Then the last one says, indicate the total number of words you have used in brackets at the end of your summary. Unpacking the instructions one by one. List 7 points in full sentences using a total of approximately 7 words. I should have explained this first. When you list, learners, let me take you back when you want to do or you want to go shopping. You write the items that you need to go and buy. Let's say perhaps you need to buy sugar, you need to buy tea, you need to buy roll-on, you need to buy soaps and all these things. When you list, learners, you're going to write them point under the other, or one on top, one under the following one. You cannot write them in a form of a paragraph. Otherwise, you're going to mix up your list. You're not going to get things that you'll buy on that particular day. So 7 points, what do we mean there? Look at it. 7 points, 7 facts. Full sentences. You must use full sentences. What do we mean by that? Each sentence has to have a verb. Start with a verb. What is a verb, learners? I'm hearing an answer somewhere. A verb, it's a doing word. A word that shows an action in a sentence. Your sentences must have a verb. And using approximately 70 words, not more than 70 words. We're going to do this practically. What do you mean by 70 words? Let's go to the second instruction. It says, number your sentences from 1 to 7. This is what we mean when you say number. I mean, we are doing maths literacy, or you are doing pure maths. Or people say it's a maths with a surname. So all of us, we know how to count. So you're going to write 1 as in 1 until or 7. So it says, don't use hashtag, do not use the stars, do not use the hyphens, do not use the bullets. The instruction says number them. Maths literacy or pure maths says when you number, you write the word number. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Learners, please do us a favor and keep to that. 1 until 7. Do not use all these things that are shown here or as examples that are given there. Number 3, instruction number 3 says write only 1 point per line. Only 1 fact per line, learners. I'll tell you why this instruction is very important. Use your own words as far as possible. Here it says make use of synonym. If you need to change certain words, you can use synonyms. And what do we mean by as far as possible? I have it as what you can manage, what you can attain. It doesn't mean you have to change the whole sentence, learners. I always say to my learners, please, even if you change one word, it is enough. Don't try to crack your skull so hard trying to change the whole sentence. You manage only one word in a particular point or in a particular sentence, or you attained only one word. It's okay. It doesn't mean you are wrong if you have used only one word, just one. And as I advise you, please just keep to one if you cannot change the whole sentence. Instruction number 5, indicate the total number of words that you have used in brackets at the end. What do you mean by that? It says make sure you count the words correctly. We're going to see this thing when we do the example later on. So when you finish writing the summary in your own words, you'll be requested to count, and you're going to count each and every word that is there, so you need to count it. Step 1, delete. Activity 1, let's look at it. It says, read the extract given. Read the extract given. Remember, in the first slide, we say you must read the the extract more than once. That's why we have it two here. You read, that is the first reading, then comes the second reading. As you read, use a pen or a pencil and delete the sentences or the phrases that are not relevant to the questions. Now the topic says, what do I have to do to be a good leader? How to be a good leader? Quickly, being a leader at school does not always mean you have to have perfect grades, but you should show a positive attitude towards your classes and give your best effort in everything. A good leader is someone who understands different positions of authority. You may not agree 100% with your teachers and parents all the time, but you should always maintain a respectful, pleasant attitude towards them. If you know how to do something in class that others do not, offer to help them. Ask in a nice way if you can help students with classwork, as long as it is fine with the teacher. Now, remember we're saying we are going to delete. How to be a good leader. Remember to have the question in mind always. The first line says, being a good leader at school does not always mean you have to perfect your grade. This does not speak to the question, how to be a good leader. That's why you have to cross it out, delete it, remove it. Remember in the exam you're allowed to have your red pen. You might use a red pen there to show that this is one of the facts that you're not even going to consider when you start writing your final piece. Another point that we are going to remove is a good leader is someone who understands different positions of authority. We don't need that one. The next point that is going to be deleted, ask in a nice way if you can help students with classwork as long as it is fine with the teacher. That is one of the examples. We don't include examples. Delete, being a trustworthy person is a quality of a good leader. If you say one thing to one person and different things to someone else, it will be known that you are not someone who can be trusted, and people do not want a leader whom they cannot trust. Even if you do not like a certain person, he or she should still be treated the same as everyone else. Being consistent in how you treat everyone is an important way to build and maintain trust. If your team has just lost a big game, do not become negative. Say things like, everyone did a great job. Your teammates will know that you believe in them. A good leader is always positive. A leader does not participate in bullying or gossip, but makes all students feel well and respected. As I was reading, I hope you also trying to delete the facts that are not going to be in your final piece. Being a trustworthy person is a quality of a good leader. Do you agree on that one? I hope so. But if you look at the second one, it says, if you say one thing to one person and different things to someone, that is one of the sentences that you are going to delete. Even the second one there, even if you do not like a certain person, he or she should still be treated the same as everyone else. That surely you can realize that that is not one of the facts that can make you a good leader. If your team has just lost a big game, that comes an example, so we don't need to consider that one for the final piece of writing. Then the step 2 is to keep. When you keep, you retain something. It means you're going to include that in your final piece. Write down the sentences that are relevant to the questions. Remember with this one, these are the words that you did not cancel them out or you did not delete. The question says, how to be a good leader. Read them again to make sure that the sentences are relevant to the topic, because sometimes you tend to rush things. So if you go back and read for the second time, you always collect your mind. How to be a good leader. What we are keeping. We have a point that says, but you should show a positive attitude towards your classes and give your best effort in everything. That's a good leader. You may not agree 100%, as people we tend to differ with one another or each other, so it's still okay. Being a trustworthy person is a quality of a good leader. That is an obvious one. Being a consistent in how you treat everyone is an important way to build and maintain trust. A good leader is always positive. A leader does not participate in bullying, otherwise you'll destroy your company or you'll destroy people that you work with. Now, remember, when you write summary, you need to write it in your own words. This is where own words comes. You're going to substitute. One of the instructions is to use your own words. Remember, I said to you, own words can mean you can use one word, two words, or you can change the whole fact if you want to. But I advise just concentrate on that one word that you see. This one, you can simply get its synonym or whatsoever. Try to replace some of the words or phrases with one word, synonyms. What is a synonym, learners? Words with the same meaning, because we don't need to change the meaning of the summary. It must still mean the same thing even after writing with your own words. Omit examples, adjectives. I hope you know what is an adjective by now. Change the sentence into active or passive voice. Be careful not to change the meaning of the sentence. This is what I said, to say even if you use your own words, still maintain the meaning of that particular sentence. How to be a good leader. What you're going to substitute. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. You look at it, this is what you have. You look at words that you can change, phrases that you can change, and come up with your own words that you're going to substitute. Number one, but you should show a positive. If you look at number one, which words can you change? Look at number two, we've got be there. Be willing. We'll see how these ones change. You see how many words have been removed? A good leader is always positive. Now look at 1, 2, 3, 4. You say, stay positive. From a sentence like that one that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words was changed into 2 words. Remember, there's a summary. We summarize. Take part. A leader does not take part. You see which word did we change there? Not participate. If you don't participate in something, you don't take part in it. So this was substituted by take part. We're minimizing the number of words that you have. Step 4, list and write. Remember how to list? 1, 2, 3. Not 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the difference. One on top, the other one underneath. That is listing. List the sentences. Number the sentences from 1 to 7. This goes back to the slide we did earlier on. Make sure there is only one fact per line. You're going to have 1 point, full stop, go to another one. You cannot continue there and have 2 points in one line. Count the number of words and write it down in brackets. That will be at the end. Write the final effort. Remember, I said you cannot say final draft. It is final piece. Draw a line through your rough draft and make sure the final is clearly indicated. On top, you write final piece. How to be a good leader? You're listing now. You see, this is what I meant by saying numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I need to show you what we meant when we say one fact per line. This is 1 point. Some learners will say, always try your best, full stop. Then they'll start having, be respectful to parents. They continue from there. No, that is not what you're supposed to do. We only need 1 point per line. so that it's easy for us as teachers to mark your summary. Always try your best. We're also counting at the same time. How many words are in point number 1? We've got 4. Point number 2, we have 6 words. We count everything, learners. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points there. At the end, after counting the whole piece, you write it 45. The words used there, it's 45. You can double check. You've got 10 plus 10 gives you 20. 20 plus 8, that is 28. 28 plus 12, that gives you 45 there. I don't know if whether my maths was correct. Remember, I only did arithmetic, not maths literacy or maths. Marking guideline. This is how as a teacher, we're going to mark your summary. Learners, when it comes to this one, please hear me out. It is not necessary for you to write the table. This table is only meant for the teachers. So you just have to write your facts. The table is to help or to assist the teachers in marking your summary, because they need to know where you took your quotations and how did you change it into a fact. A table is not necessary for the learners, but if you feel you want to do it, it's okay, but it is not necessary. So you have quotation 1, but you should show a positive attitude towards your classes and give your best effort to everything. This, as a learner, you can change it into the following: always try your best or be positive. You see how many words you have left out because you are summarizing. Initially, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 words in a sentence or in effect were changed into 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, or it was changed into 2, 1, 2. That is what we call summary. Believe you me, learners, if you can grab this one, you won't have problem attending your lectures at next year, or when you decide to further your studies, or if you are employed, you'll be able to help your boss or your manager in the company to write the notes. Number 2 there, you may not agree 100%. We came across that one. And this one was simply changed into be respectful to adults. Number 3, if you know how to do something in class that others do not, offer to help them. Always be willing to help others. You can have it in any other different way if you want to. Always be willing to help others. It does not mean if we have a memo like this, this is what we are going to use. We know you use different words. It's okay. Being a trustworthy person is a quality of a good leader. This can be written as always be honest or reliable or always be dependable. Being consistent in how you treat everyone is an important way to build and maintain trust. See how that one was changed? Be fair to everyone, treat everyone the same. Then the last but not least, a good leader is always positive. Stay positive. Remember, initially we say be positive. They still mean one and the same thing. Number 7, a leader does not participate in bullying. Imagine, when you're a leader, then you're part of bullying. What kind of a leader are you? So you cannot participate in such things, learners. A leader does not participate in bullying or gossip, but makes all students feel welcome and respected. Look at how it was changed. Do not take part in bullying or gossip or show respect. Let's continue. Marking guideline still continues. The following points from the answers to the questions. We had them. Always try that one. The following points from the answers also, this is the same way. If you know how to do something, always be willing to help others. Number 4, being a trustworthy person is a quality of a good leader. Always be honest. I've spoken about this one. Marking guideline also for number 5 and number 6. Different options are given there. So as markers, we will be able to, or as teachers will be able to see if whether your fact is related to the quotation. This is what will help the teachers. Marking guideline continue. I would like you learners to concentrate carefully here. Marking summary. The summary is going to be marked as follows. The summary should be marked as follows. Bullet 1, mark allocation. I said in the beginning, summary it's out of 10. Mark allocation, 7 marks for 7 points. The correct point will get 1 mark. Then we have the remaining 3. What is the remaining 3 for? 3 marks for language. Then the total is 10. How are the marks allocated or distributed? Distribution of language marks when a candidate has not quoted verbatim. What is this? I hear an answer somewhere, verbatim. It's when you take out a fact and write it as it is. That is verbatim, word for word. Do not even try to change it into your own words. That is what we call verbatim. Now, this is how the language mark is going to be distributed. 1 to 3 points correct, you're going to get 1. 4 to 5 points correct, you're going to be allocated 2 marks. If it is 6 to 7 points correct, you allocate 3. It will be 7 plus 3. Then it will give you 10. If your language is correct, or the 7 points we have, you're going to get 3 marks. I need to speak a little about the language mark. This mark, learners, the 3 mark, has got nothing to do with how you write your sentences. It has got nothing to do with the punctuation. It has nothing to do with prepositions, for an example, the punctuation. It is the mark that you get for getting the correct points. If your points are correct, for an example, if you have all the 7 points correct, whether they have mistakes, whether they have prepositions incorrect, they've got sentences are not correct, as long as a point is correct, you deserve a mark from that 3. Distribution of language marks when a candidate has quoted verbatim, word for word, remember. 6 to 7 quotes. Remember the quotes? I'm talking about taking the sentences or the facts as they are and put them down in your answers. You took them as they are. 6 to 7 quotes are what? No language. If you did not even bother to change even a single word, you're not going to get any mark from that 3. So it's 0. 1 to 5 quotes are what? 1 language mark. We're still going to explain this in detail in the following slides. Node, word count. As teachers, markers are going to count, are required learners to verify. Remember, as learners, you are sometimes you can be very tricky. You always love taking a wild guess to say, this summary writing can be 50-40. If we have doubts as markers, learners, what you need, we are going to count to verify the number of words you wrote at the bottom of your summary. Do not deduct any marks if the candidate fails to indicate. This refers to us as the teachers or as the markers to say we are not going to deduct any mark if you did not include the number of words. But it is very important, learners, for us for you to indicate the number of words. Don't say because there is not going to be any deduction, then you don't write down the number of words. I beg you, learners, indicate the number of words. This is a summary. We need to see if whether you have managed to keep to 70 words that is required. If the word limit is exceeded, read up to the last sentence above the stipulated upper limit and ignore the rest. This refers to us as the markers or as the educators. Some learners have a tendency of, or you have a tendency of writing long sentences. I don't know, I always say, your sentence is such an extension, my dear learner. So we will read that sentence until the last full stop. But remember with that, you did not follow instruction. You will have a problem at the later stage in your life to say you are unable to follow instructions given to you. The instruction simply says 70 words. And if you write long sentences, you'll have a problem. One of the tips that I always give to my learners is, in order for you to get 70 learners, arithmetic or maths literacy says if you've got 10 words in a point, point number 1, you have 10 words. Point number 2, you've got 10 words. If all, for an example, the words in a sentence are 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, you already have 70 words. The point I'm trying to make to you is, if you're clever enough, you can try to keep your sentences below 10. If you keep your sentences below 10, you are sure that you did not go beyond 70 words. Activity, marking the summary. You don't have to have a perfect goals. You have a positive attitude and stay positive. I'll see this in the next slide. Marking of summary also continue. Look at this one. You don't have to have perfect goals. This point is incorrect. We mark it with a cross there. Point number 2, have a positive attitude and stay positive. Always remember the question, how to be a good leader. And if you're a good leader, you cannot be someone who does not have goals. Then you're not a good leader at all. As leaders, you need to work towards your goals. Number 2 says, have a positive attitude and stay positive. Yes, if your attitude is negative, you're not going to be able to run your company, or you're not going to run or to work with people because you have a negative attitude. This makes it 1. Then we have point number 1 already. It's a tick and 1. This 1 simply says it's fact number 1. Then look at 3. You should always maintain respectful or pleasant attitude towards them. These Q indicates it's a quotation. This learner took it as it is. You should always maintain a respectful, pleasant attitude. Is this one correct, learners, or is this one wrong? Remember, even if you took it as it is, learners, it is still a correct fact. That's why we have it a tick there. And it's which fact? It's fact number 2. Correct fact number 2, but it is a quote. Number 4 says, say one thing to one person to be a trustworthy person. How can you say one thing to one person, but to the others you say a different thing? That will destroy your company. So this one is totally incorrect. So we put it across there. Then we have number 5. A leader does not support bullies or gossip. I spoke about it. That's fact number 7. It's also correct. Number 6 says, always ask if you can help. Remember, if people need help, you can go to them and say, can I please offer you something? Can I please help you? Then it's fact number 3. It's also correct. Then the last one says, it is a quotation. If you have, being a trustworthy person is a quality of good leader. then it was taken as it is. So it is it's correct, remember? We have it there. And it's point number 4. But it is a quotation. There's another one, because this is a marking, it's a marking summary. We'll always have all the facts that comes from the extract. So this is number 8. Treat everyone as important to build trust. We don't have that one. That cannot be how to be a good leader. So this one is wrong. Then you read all the words you have, 1, 2, 3. You read them, all of them. Then according to this, it's 70 words. Then for this summary, this is how the marks were allocated. How many facts? Let's go back. We say we have 1, it's correct. 2, it's correct. That's number 2. 3, correct. 4, correct. 5, correct. Check. 5 facts. Even if those ones that are quotation, remember, they are still facts. They are still correct. But it says language 1. Let's see how this one comes. It says there were 2 quotations. Need to go back. Bear with me, learners. I need to go back to the previous slides. Look, 3 marks for language, 7 marks for points. 1 to 3 points correct, 1 mark. So in that one, we had 5 correct. That's why we have facts 5. But I want to come here. 6 to 7 codes are what? No mark. 1 to 5 codes are what? 1 language mark. We have 2 points that were quotations. So it falls under here, 1 to 5. That's why it was only one language mark given there. Come. Oops. Language, it was 1. Then because the quotation were 2. Then the total mark is 6. Remember, if a fact is repeated, you'll get an R in your script. R means repetition. But we can't award a mark because it's been repeated. The fact is marked as incorrect, and R shows that it is repeated. The number is the fact that it's being repeated, that is indicated there. This is where you can get information. Practice by sourcing previous question papers. For you to be able to get this 10 mark, learners, if you go to this website, www.education.gov.za, you'll get different question papers. And remember, I said this is a skill that you need to master. And you can only master this skill if you're going to practice more. And when you practice, you need to write. Write and write. This now brings us to the end of our presentation. It was only a 10 mark question, question 2, section B, summary writing. I have this one. It says, if it is important to you, you will find a way. If education is important for you, you're not going to relax and say you wait for someone to come and wake you up. If it is important, you will work for it. If you really need to pass at the end of the year, or if you really need to succeed in life, you must work for it. And it says, if not, you'll find an excuse. Learners have a tendency of giving excuses. I could not study because they were making noise at home. I could not study because there was no electricity. If there is no electricity, learners at home, please wake up in the morning and do your work. Don't find an excuse of not doing anything. Having said that, this brings us to Mr. Mandela, our former president, our late former president. It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it. Let us try to make change and make the world a better place to be. Thank you, learners. Thank you so much. See you next time.